Ben McKee, Patrick Brown, Go Vols 24/7 here on campus following lucky practice number 13 for Tennessee during fall camp. The last day that we are going to see football practice in person for quite some time.
Yeah, probably until December in Florida or wherever else they might end up playing in a bowl game.
Yes. What did you see? It seemed like the availability, there was an uptick in guys back. Still some guys a little limited, but the defensive back room in particular looked like it was more present today.
Yeah, Tamari McDonald, Wesley Walker, again doing drills as they continue to get close. They're not going to have a whole lot of live practice between now and the opener, but it looks like their availability for the opener is going to be better because they're doing drills 2 weeks out. Didn't see Kamal Haddon after he got banged up on Tuesday. Didn't see Elijah Simmons out there on the defensive field. Everything looked good on offense, though. But, yeah, it seems like they're getting a little bit healthier in the secondary, and as Tennessee gets into an extended game week this next week, getting some guys healthy will be a focus.
Yes, and routes on air, you said, looked really good today.
Yeah, I thought Joe Milton and Nico Iamaleava threw the ball pretty well. They did throw some downfield routes, some deep shots. Seemed like those went pretty well. Nico threw a couple good ones. His third one wasn't his best, but he hit Nathan Leacock and I think Jack Jancic in stride on a couple of those. And Joe throwing a deep ball, you know what you're going to get there. It's always usually pretty good and pretty accurate, and he had a couple guys in stride as well.
Something else about Tennessee that's been really good this fall camp has been the running back room, and that was the theme post-practice. We spoke to Jerry Mack, and we also spoke to Jabari Small and Jalen Wright, and the running back room as a whole has been really good, but it's been Jalen Wright that has kind of stole the show this preseason.
Yeah, he's been one of the standouts for Tennessee in camp, and that's a good sign. Again, this is a guy that really hasn't come out of nowhere necessarily. He led Tennessee in rushing last season, but he's continued to get better and better throughout his career. You saw him make a jump last season. Seems like he's poised to make another one this season. He's been close with Jalen Hyatt, Hendon Hooker, some of those guys, so he's seen those guys work. Maybe that's rubbed off on him and helped him sort of transform his mindset. He's transformed his body. He's improved the fumbling issues. You asked Jerry Mack about that, and Mack said he really hasn't seen any fumbling since middle of last season. Obviously, some of those fumbles early last season were because he didn't get a lot of time in camp. So he's a guy that I think could have a big season as long as he stays healthy. It seems like he's becoming a complete running back as more than just a guy that's fast and tries to run around people.
Yeah, and with Jabari Small, he just seems to be the guy that's just going to be steady, the most consistent guy in that room, and it's still going to be very productive. It seems like he's kind of flying under the radar in terms of weapons within this Tennessee offense.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Jabari is given his shoulder issues in the past, you wonder if they keep him kind of limited from contact, kind of manage the workload of practice. They've done that some, but they've also learned from last year when Jalen Wright didn't get some contact. They've made sure that Jabari has gotten some hits. He's taken some of the contact in camp and trying to avoid having some of those fumbling issues pop up with him potentially. So he's a guy that's really steady, does everything well, and he's obviously, as you said, flying under the radar because Jalen Wright's getting so much hype, but he's going to be a guy that's going to help this football team a lot this fall.
Yeah, and lastly, I think the young running backs may help as well. Obviously, they're not going to get as many opportunities if the room stays healthy as a Jalen Wright, as a Jabari Small, even a Dylan Sampson, but Khalifa Keith and Cam Seldon, and we'll lump in the other younger back that I'm blanking on his name, but all three of those younger backs.
Dylan
Sampson, thank you. I don't even know what day it is. We're at that point in camp, but those three younger backs, when they get opportunities, it seems like they're going to make the most of it.
Yeah, the question with the rotation is it going to become a two-headed monster tandem to a three-headed thing, a three-back system with Sampson. Jerry Mack said he's got a little bit more to go in terms of pass pro to get to that point maybe, but it could be maybe a 2.5 guy rotation. He does like the freshman. Cameron Sullivan's made a lot of improvement mentally. Mack said he's a guy that just needs to get a lot of reps and he'll be pretty good. They really like Khalifa Keith. He's obviously still learning how to play, learn how to pass pro, but as a runner, they've been impressed. They've gotten what they thought they were going to get in him. He's a big guy, 225, 230 pounds. So both those guys are big physical backs, and they're coming along nicely from what it sounds like.
Yep, they are. And Tennessee will be back on the practice field tomorrow morning. They'll have an off day on Sunday, and then they'll get back into things on Monday, as at that point they'll be 12 days away from kickoff.
Can't believe it.
It's close. We're Jawan Jennings days away today. For Patrick Brown, I'm Ben McKee at GoVols247.com.